Thanks so much to everyone for coming today. This is going to be a blast. So I'm going to ask John a few questions, and then we'll open it up for an audience Q&A, so get your brains going. So a good place to start, we know you for wrestling, obviously. You wrote a kid's book. How did this come about?
So, thank you very much for bringing up the WWE. Those of you out there that know me from the WWE, it's no secret that the half of the audience enjoys what I do, and the other half maybe not so much. And when you break down the demo of the people that enjoy and who don't enjoy, the people who do enjoy essentially are young kids and families. And this was real-time market research I got to have every day by going to the arena night after night and seeing the faces of young people and how much they were affected not only by my performance, but the message I was trying to send. And the message is very simple: never give up. And it's not something I said many times on television in WWE. I think I've only said it twice. But it is badged on every piece of branding that I have, and it is for good reason, because it is simply the reason where I'm at today. It's because when things get tough, you never give up. So I was approached by a publisher to write an autobiography. And I believe we are constantly writing our story, so I didn't yet want to tell mine. And they then suggested, well, you seem to really connect with kids. Would you ever think about doing a kid's book? And I didn't even think that that was a possibility. Like, I never would have thought that I would be considered to be eligible to be the author of a kid's book. But when they brought it to my attention and they said that, well, young readers connect with the theme of never give up, and then I did some digging, and child psychologists like Angela Duckworth and Carol Dweck really reinforced the fact that the younger you can teach a person growth mindset, like, hey, if you want to practice this skill, there's going to come a point when it's going to be tough. Just don't quit, because in the end, you'll probably end up getting it. It's very important to teach that to young people. So I had an idea that young people connected with, and I was able to create a universe that isn't exactly a WWE ring to send the same message. So that's a very long answer, but that's exactly why I wrote a children's book.
No, it's a great answer. What were the kids' books that you loved to read when you were a kid? As you went about this process, who were the authors, who were the characters that were running around your brain?
I really dug Dr. Seuss because it was so whimsical and wild, and it rhymed. And a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I was a bit of a rapper myself. So I would maybe venture a guess that Dr. Seuss is the original doctor of thugonomics. Thank you for the one John Cena rap fan over there, and the rest of you don't even go near this stuff. It's fine the way it is. I really enjoyed Dr. Seuss. I also enjoyed Shel Silverstein. My favorite book that my mom used to read to me as a kid was Cars and Trucks and Things That Go by Richard Scarry, only because I loved big machinery. That was kind of the reason the elbow grease universe exists. But I also loved the fact that these animals that assumed human form were driving these large pieces of machinery. So I loved that book as a kid. I think Dr. Seuss and Shel Silverstein, those are some pretty good authors that I enjoyed.
Amen. Great answer. So, yeah, shout out to Shel Silverstein, absolutely.
Thank you for the applause. I feel like I just hit a worthless putt on 13 in the Masters. Like, Cena, he's 5 over for the day. He's 15 feet out, left to right break, is very concentrated. He takes another look, steps up to the presentation. And yes, he's got it, bottom of the cup. Yes, thank you. That's the sound right there. Yeah. Thank you.
So one of the things I love about elbow grease, and this is a spoiler alert, but anyone who hasn't read the book, I mean, what are you doing? Is that he doesn't win in the end right away. He doesn't cross the finish line first, and it has a deeper message. You were in a world of winning and losing all the time. Why was that a message? What was it about winning and losing you wanted to teach people about in this book?
The one guy in the corner knows this, but for the rest of you guys, I lose a lot. So many times in the world of WWE, the traditional good guy loses because the bad guy has cheated or broken the rules. Because then the good guy can go back and say, in a fair fight, I promise I can win. I'm one of the rare cases of a good guy who loses and goes back out the next night in front of a packed audience of people who are like, man, we really bet on you and you didn't do good. And then I have to say to that audience, I know I was beaten by a better man. I will go back and work as hard as I can, hopefully get another chance, and then we will kick some ass. And that's pretty much what I've done over 15 years. And it's a very rare thing in sports entertainment because a good guy is never supposed to look weak or embarrassed or vulnerable or fragile. I've tried to embody all of those things because I don't believe that vulnerability is a weakness. I believe it's a strength when you can admit failure, but tell yourself this did not work. I'm going to work harder to either go down the same path and succeed or shift my efforts to another path and succeed in that venture. I think that's a very important thing that you can take not just as a young reader, but as a young adult and a grown person. And I believe it's a solid moral foundation to do exactly what you want in life. So the reason that Elbow Grease doesn't finish first is because it's not about finishing the race first. No one thinks he can finish the race, period. And if you look at the wreckage left behind, many of these professional grade monster trucks cannot finish the race either. And a little bit more of a spoiler alert, now the book's been out for almost a year, the winner of the race actually comes over and congratulates Elbow Grease and tells his brothers, like, I didn't think this guy could do it either. This was more amazing, essentially, than me winning the race. And oftentimes, we get disappointed and frustrated with ourselves if we're not the very best, and we compare ourselves to the results of others. You should be challenging you every day, and essentially every day is a battle of you against you, and it's just about you harnessing your energy, just like Elbow Grease, to try to do things that you never thought were possible. Elbow Grease was told time and time again, he can't finish this race, yet when he really uses everything he possibly has and works as hard as he can, he doesn't win, but he finishes. And in completing the skill or in mastering the skill itself, that's a victory unto itself.
There's also a lot of competition, and you're one of many siblings. What was it about that you really thought you wanted to include in these books as well?
Well, Elbow Grease is kind of a reflection of my young life. I'm from a family of 5 boys. I have 4 brothers, and we all really beat the heck out of each other a lot. And there was a very strong sense of competition in our household. And each one of my brothers essentially was very skilled in one discipline. And I love them all very much, and we still have a great relationship to this day. But I think the one thing that set me apart from all of them was I never really had a comfort zone. And I was okay pushing myself to an uncomfortable place and trying new things that I didn't know, or maybe I would be bad at. Whereas my brothers kind of stayed in their lane. They recognized they were good in one thing. They stuck to that one thing and became really good in that one thing. But I went on to do like a ton of stuff. Like writing a kid's book is a great example. It was very scary and uncertain for me to take on a task like this, but it was also exciting and unbelievably rewarding. So that's kind of why the Elbow Grease universe exists how it does, how Elbow Grease has 4 brothers. The brothers are very good at the one thing that they do, but Elbow Grease's strength is essentially gumption, the ability to just focus and work hard on the task at hand.
Have they read the book? And if so, what did they think of it?
They have read the book. I have yet to tell them which trucks are them, so they still enjoy it. But actually, a few of them have kids of their own, and they all love the book. So it's really good to see that a story essentially about our young lives connects with generations of our family, which is really cool.
Very cool. Can you talk a bit about the process? How did you work with the illustrator? How did you make this go from an idea to a thing that we can now buy and hold?
Well, the biggest thing was coming up with the language. Talking to young readers is very different than talking to you or an audience or answering questions like this. So I was approached with the idea and then approached with the theme. So we kind of had the the really good foundation for a book. It was just putting it in context that young readers, one, could understand, and two, could enjoy. And then once you have the context, it's about finding the artwork of the universe. And the artwork was extremely important, and Howard did an amazing job. And I was very liberal with letting him do his thing. I wasn't really hawking him about how things should look. We had a bunch of conversations explaining the universe, and he came up with this one drawing of a truck. I'm like, that's it. Because we did have a bunch of other artists try out, and I think because it's a book essentially for young boys, a lot of the artwork was aggressive. And I didn't want it to be aggressive because I wanted you to be able to feel the pain and the emotional journey of Elbow Grease and the happiness of his brothers and the sadness and the shock when he gets hit by lightning, but also the excitement and fun. And I think that needed to be more of a softer side, and Howard really knocked it out of the park. So when I saw that drawing, besides small notes on like, hey, maybe this shouldn't be this color, I just let him kind of do his thing, and he did a great job.
It also has a female mechanic, which in all the kids' books I've read in my entire life, I've never seen before. And she's awesome. Like, she's a great character. I thought that was a great addition as well.
Yeah, and that's simply just introducing the fact, and this is a theme in Elbow Grease itself, that anyone can do anything. And especially when you have an unbiased young reader, I think, and it's not forced at all, you just see Mel the mechanic. And although Mel has built all these monster trucks, it's never really forced, and the theme isn't really forced. It's just kind of casually there, just similar to a lot of messages in the book. The underlying message of growth mindset, never giving up, is prominently displayed in the book. But also, Elbow Grease is teased because he's different. But then towards the end of the book, it very strongly expresses that it's okay to be different, and it's okay to be you, and it's okay to try new things. And if you only try the same things, you'll never essentially learn anything. All these are subtle ideas that a young reader can take away, or as a parent, if it's something you want to enforce, you can, but if you don't even want to go near it, you don't have to. It's just the casual idea of Mel being a brilliant mechanic, that truly anyone can do anything, and it shouldn't necessarily be a job segregated to one type of person.
So I've got a couple more questions, and we'll open it up. One of which is, related to kids. You've done a lot of work with Make-A-Wish, and not just a lot of work, more than 500 visits. Is that correct?
I never like to give a number because I don't want people to think that I'm involved with the charity for the wrong reasons. So I will say this: I've been working with Make-A-Wish for more than 15 years, and I will continue working with Make-A-Wish as long as they'll have me, and that's for certain.
Yeah, absolutely. And you probably get approached by a lot of really fantastic groups. What is it about that one that really has not just drawn you, but kept you involved in that work?
Well, it's simple. I think the WWE is perfect for Make-A-Wish. Being able to perform in so many venues simultaneously, continuously throughout the year, simply put, they can just grant a lot of wishes. And if you think about the concept of a wish, you're giving a child who is facing a life-threatening illness one chance to do essentially anything that they've ever wanted. So they say, like, I want to go to WWE and hang out with John Cena. That is the most flattering, coolest thing to hear. And these children and families that are facing such uphill circumstances get an escape, and they get an evening of happiness, and they get some personal time that makes the performance absolutely about them. So it's extremely rewarding. WWE can do it better and more frequent than anyone else, and I'm literally super grateful to have been such a part of it for such a long time. And it's something that gives me great satisfaction, and I hope over the years the families and children I've met, it gives them the same sense of happiness.
So in terms of wrestling, you were at it a long, long time, and it's not easy.
I still am. Just not as much.
But how has your relationship with that changed, because you are in so many different worlds now? And how do you kind of balance your life in the ring with what you maybe want to do outside of it?
Well, I've always kind of been involved in a lot of stuff. I did movies very early on in my career, and they weren't any good. So I'm glad I kind of stayed in the ring as much as I did. But I've always been all over the place. It's just now I'm in the ring less and less, not because of outside commitments. It's literally because of my age. And I made a promise to myself at a very young age that I would never shortchange our consumer. You're all here, and I know the hard-earned money you had to spend to be here, and I never want to feel as if I give you less of an experience for selfish gain. And I feel as if what I've contributed to the WWE over the years has affected a lot of folks' lives in a good way. And I don't ever want to go out there and have people be like, yeah. So at 42, I'm kind of facing that man in the mirror and telling myself that I am, still in great shape. I still feel good. But the talent nowadays is so fast and so strong and so crisp. And I'm not exactly known for being the most precise performer on the planet. So I'm just taking an honest look at myself. And I've been asked this question many times before, and people seem to think that like, oh, you're doing all this other stuff, so you can't do WWE. There's an element of that that's true, but if I was doing nothing else, I would take an honest look at myself and consider my career in its twilight and would still be performing less and less because that phase of my life, due to the ticking clock of time, is coming to an end. And I just don't want to put the consumer in a bad place by going out there and performing any less than I have in the past.
Excellent. So we're going to open up for audience Q&A.
This is my favorite part. I'm going to stand up
Favorite
for
part.
this.
Standing up. Things are happening.
Hi, folks. If I could get everyone who wants to ask a question, just line up right behind
And
me.
I assure you guys, it's really much like a police lineup. They're shining bright lights in my face, so I literally can't see a lot of folks out there. So you can say whatever you want. I'm not going to judge any questions. You guys can ask me anything. I'm essentially here for you. There's a lot of folks that have gathered here today, so literally, whatever questions you got, I'll do my best to answer.
All right. Here, I think I'll do my best to try and see through the lights.
Fire away.
Yes.
All right, hi, Don from New Jersey.
All right.
Just wanted to thank you for being a great sponsor for Make-A-Wish. My son's a Make-A-Wish kid, but he used it on Disney, not on you, unfortunately.
It's quite all right. As long as you got to experience a wish, that's what's really important.
Just want to see if you're going to be in the next Psych movie.
Unfortunately, our schedules were a bit conflicting, but I'm trying to maybe give an early spoiler. I hope to be in the next one. Yeah. What else we got?
All right. Yes, you, sir.
I'm Phil from Brooklyn. So besides your next match, is there any other books that are going to be out?
Are there any other books that are going to be out?
Yes, in the future.
Yeah, there's basically I'm here at BookCon now, not only to relive Elbow Grease and thank everyone for making it a tremendous success, but because of your consumership and because of your attachment to the story, there's another book coming out in the fall, and that's pretty much why I'm here, to let everybody know about Elbow Grease versus Motozilla.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Mary from Westchester, and this is the super silly question. My family, and especially me, is a big fan of Daddy's Home 2, and in the iconic scene at the end with your favorite song. So I want to know what your real favorite song is.
That's a good one. I love Lucille by B.B. King. I listen to a lot of Etta James. I love me some Otis Redding. Guys, I'm old.
I'm older.
Those are three good ones right there. Three good artists.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Maria from New York. So you've done wrestling, you did an album, movies, writing books. What's next for you?
So that's a really cool question. I never look at it like that. I have been on a wonderful journey, and I'm very grateful for that. And through all of the things that have happened in my life, good and bad, I always try to pose these like weird, open-ended philosophical questions with myself. I think maybe I'm talking to some people who have faced maybe the same question. Why am I here? What is my purpose? And I've stripped it down to the bare metal, and I believe my purpose is to chase passion things that I am passionate about, which is why you just listed like, hey, you've done this, this, and this, and this, what's next? I don't say like, hey, I now want to build the world's largest Ferris wheel. But if I see a Ferris wheel and be like, man, now I'm super into Ferris wheels, who knows? I may try to build the world's largest Ferris wheel. Right now, I'm really excited about what I've been able to do as an author to young readers, and it's really great to connect with the book community. But and right after this, I'm going to fly to London to take care of some business over there. But it's all stuff that I'm passionate about, and that's not just work-based. That's in my personal life as well. I try to put myself in a position where I do things that I love. And that's kind of why I feel I'm here, and that's what I'm going to do next. Hopefully something that I really love.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Hi, John. I'm Peter of the Marvelists podcast, and my question to you is, with your career blowing up essentially, there's a lot of people going over to Marvel and DC now. Where do you see yourself going, maybe one day?
You know, I look in the mirror every day and I can't see myself. Thank you, guys. That was much better than a golf clap. I appreciate it. I also live by a philosophy of control the controllable. I am not in control of any of those choices. And I've also been grateful enough to be a real-life superhero for over 15 years. So I know what that feels like, and it's extremely rewarding. Would it be a wonderful opportunity to exist in any one of those universes? Yes. But I'm not the person who decides that. So the best I can do is do the best I can at everything I try, and if I'm consistent and work hard, hopefully good things will happen. So I can't, right now I see myself on the outside looking in as a fan, because that's what I can control.
My personal bias, please come to Marvel. Please come to Marvel.
Thank you. I'll take that under consideration, even though I have no control over it. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Jay from Connecticut. I was just wondering, is there one pivotal experience that you went through that made you want to do things like Make-A-Wish and kind of giving back?
I think it's the experience themselves. The first time I got into a wrestling ring to train, I realized that I may not do this as a job, but I will work a crummy job to support this habit the rest of my life because I can't get away from this. The first time I did a Make-A-Wish, I didn't know what it was. And I was ushered into a room to meet a family, to say hello before an event, and this was 15 years ago. And then the person, after I left, thanked me because I had just been part of a Make-A-Wish experience. Now, the wish was for the child to meet another superstar, a more high-profile superstar at the time. But I turned around and I said, what is Make-A-Wish? And then they explained to me what it actually is. And that child's one wish was to be here at a WWE event and hang out with us. And I turned to that representative, and it's Sue Aegis, and I was able to honor her this year at the WWE Hall of Fame, and I said, whenever you need me for any of this, I'm there, because it was the most flattering thing. If I was given one wish, I'm not sure that would be it. And to know that there's a group of people out there that want to hang out with us, and that's the only thing they would really, really appreciate doing, that is the coolest feeling in here. So it's the experience themselves. I think once you go through that and you're moved by it, that's what draws you to want to do it again and again.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Hi, Jason from Freeport. I know that it's not good to look back at regret, but looking back into wrestling and thugonomics and all that, is there anything you regret doing or not doing?
No, I don't. And once again, I'm up here with a microphone, just throwing my 2 cents out at everybody. But take it, throw it back. It's cool. And if you're just walking in, we're in the Q&A session. Walk in, get a question, stand in line. No problem. Thank you guys for being here. Work, life, experience. I don't have a single regret. I think experiences become regrets when you don't learn from them. And I've learned from every single thing I've been able to do. I have made plenty of mistakes in my life. But when you make a mistake, first of all, own up to it, own it, 100%. Second of all, ask for forgiveness. And third of all, don't just let those words of forgiveness fall into thin air. If someone says, hey, we're going to have to work on this to make it better, do the work and learn from the experience. And because of that philosophy, I don't have a single regret about my life, period. I've done some really stupid things that if I could go back in time, I would be less stupid. But the crazy thing is, by doing those stupid things, I actually gained wisdom of what to do and what not to do. So I don't regret a single thing, work or life.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Hi, my name is Talia from New Jersey. Me and my little brother Dominic truly adore you.
Thank you.
And I think you're a real inspiration for him, to be honest. He couldn't be here today, but he wants to know if you would do a Daddy's Home 3.
I would keep doing movies with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell. I would do Daddy's Home 100.
Yeah.
But once again, that's not up to me. Those guys are a ton of fun and a barrel of laughs and a ton of fun to be on camera with and both off camera with. I had a blast doing the movies. I'm glad you enjoyed them. Hopefully I get a spot in the future to tell more jokes with those guys because they're really talented.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Hi, my name's Chris from right here in New York. I was just wondering how you enjoyed your time on Fred 3, Fred 2, Night of the Living Fred, as Fred's dad.
Everything was great, except for those of you who've seen the Fred movies. I had to live in a refrigerator as Fred's dad. And Fred's voice, every once in a while, can just gnaw away at you. He's got this weird high-pitched voice that I can't even imitate because it possibly is enhanced by some sort of digital effect. But in all honesty, so I told you guys I did a bunch of movies earlier on in my career that sucked, and that was true. And in 2008, 9, I basically owned my failure of not doing good work and said to myself, I'm not doing movies again. And I have to focus on this because I've done bad work after bad work after bad work and haven't bettered myself as an actor and didn't want to put the time in. I really wanted to be in the ring, and I really wanted to be doing then what I truly loved the most. And then this offer to play Fred's dad came about, and you brought up Fred 2 and Fred 3, but I was also in the first one. And I was given the opportunity to do a children's comedy movie based off of a YouTube star, and I loved the story. And it's the goofiest, craziest movie. I literally play my WWE character, and I live in a refrigerator, and I'm a figment of Fred's imagination. So it sounds crazy, and at the time, especially in an industry where you kind of got to remain as tough as you can, I jumped at the opportunity because it was a chance for me to be who I really was. I'm not a tough guy. I really work hard, and I love what I do, but I don't flaunt my toughness around at every chance I can get. I'm a goofball. I like to have fun, and I like to tell jokes, and I like to make fun of myself. And it was a great opportunity to do that. And believe it or not, doing those 3 Fred movies ended up allowing me to host the Kids' Choice Awards, which ended up allowing me to host the Teen Choice Awards, which ended up allowing me to host Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader coming up. It's led to a lot of opportunities. So I had to be brave enough to be the butt of the joke and just laugh along with it in a really good story and actually put the work in to do well at an opportunity that I thought I'd never get. So it's amazing that you bring those movies up because that was kind of the start of what you see today. Without those Fred movies, I wouldn't have any sort of a second chance in the movie business.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, John. I'm Wayne from England. There's been a lot of other WWE authors, some good, some not so good. One of the most successful, Mick Foley. Did he offer you any advice about becoming an author, children's author in specific?
No, because the opportunity came along so sudden. And it was something, once again, that I was once approached with the reason I was extremely passionate about. So I kind of knew what I wanted to do, and I do believe you can learn from everyone around you, but I really wanted to put my stamp on this project, and I kind of wanted to do it my way. So I didn't really seek out any advice. I had a really a good vision of what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it, and I kind of went with it.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Hi, I'm Marty from New York, and this is gonna be a stupid question.
Ah,
but,
there are no stupid questions. Don't say that.
Okay. Will you ever go to a BTS concert?
You know, I've tried many times. It's very difficult to get tickets to a BTS concert. I don't know if you found this out, but a lot of people seem to like BTS. And every time I try to get tickets, I either have work or there are no tickets available. So I'm like a subtle hidden member of the army, but I can't go to the concerts just yet. But I see you over there. We know what we're talking about.
Okay, thank you, Cena.
Hi, John. I'm Joe from New York. First, I want to say thank you for all you've done for the kids of the world, for Make-A-Wish. You're a real inspiration to everybody.
You guys are too kind. Thank you. And thank you very much.
My question is, with the growing crop of WWE talent now, do you see anybody that's really growing into the next John Cena of WWE?
Oh, if they were, I would tell them stop. My goodness. This is some real inside baseball. Anyone who's here for WWE is going to love this answer, but I'll keep it short. I think the dynamic of the program is changing. For the longest time, I think if you consider WWE a band, there's been one front person of the band. I think that dynamic is changing, and it's because the audience is too diverse. I think older males are watching it, younger kids are watching it, females are watching it. The audience is so diverse, so with a diverse audience, it's tough to universally please someone. In the 80s, you had a family-oriented program, and Hulk Hogan was the front man. In the 90s, you had 18 to 35-year-old males, in come Steve Austin and Dwayne Johnson, because they hit right down that wheelhouse. And then there was me, but even myself, as you know, went through a polarizing stage where half the audience likes you and half the audience doesn't. So I don't think there's a universal figure that will lead the company forward. I think as the company grows and especially expands globally, you're gonna have like a super friends of the WWE, which is like people who are essentially fighting for equal share of popularity. I think the band essentially will now have 10 lead singers of every different race, creed, color, sex, ethnicity. So I believe that I was kind of the last of that. And I think the landscape has changed so much that it's more of a group effort rather than an individual effort.
Amazing, thank you.
And that was Inside Baseball for WWE by John Cena.
Hi, my name's Janelle from New Jersey. I also have a BTS-related question.
Oh my goodness.
Who's your favorite member?
It's J-Hope because he can rap and he can dance. Just like me. This is the only dance move I have. I also have this one.
Good choice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, John. How are you?
Very good.
My name is Renee, and I'm from Sullivan County, New York. And I was just wondering, would you ever do a Fast and the Furious movie?
Ooh, that's a great idea. That's a fantastic idea. I've never thought of that before, but now that you bring it to my attention, yes. Yes, I would love to do a Fast and the Furious movie. If that opportunity ever came up, I would not say in German, 9, 9, 9. I would just do the next Fast and Furious movie. Which one would it be? There's been 8 of them, right? And the next one is 9. Interesting question. Time will tell, but I would love to do one. That'd be great.
Thank you, John.
Hi, John. My name is Jairo. I'm from New Jersey. This isn't really a question, but more of a thank you. I just recently finished my master's degree for digital media and learning, and my thesis was focusing on children with learning disabilities. And I looked up to people like Stan Lee, you, The Rock, all these types of pop culture icons, and I developed this sort of like TV show that I'm hopefully planning on pitching to PBS eventually. So I really want to thank you for being part of my childhood and influencing different types of people of creativity and embracing the fact that you are a superhero. I didn't like it at first, growing up, seeing you always win all the time kind of, made me mad all the time. But, getting older now, it's like I understand it, and, the children are the future, and we have to give them the good moral values and lessons that we have to, implement them later in their lives. So I just want to say thank you for that, and keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the kind words. Thank you.
Hi, John. I'm Mike from Connecticut, and you seem to be doing a lot of movies lately, and I was just wondering, what made you want to do a movie like Blockers?
Thank you. Thank you. So, there's no rhyme or reason to my choices, except when I read it and it's good, I want to be a part of it. As a WWE superstar, I think some of the best moments of performance come with people that you essentially perform well with, people you like to perform with. If you get put in a story of meaning and of gravity and of power, that's where you can thrive. So I like to read something and connect with it and then try to be a part of it. I read Blockers and immediately said I would do it. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know I was going to be Mitch. I didn't know what my place would be in the movie. Bumblebee is another great example of this. I just told somebody the other day, I read the script for Bumblebee, and I have to admit, I had some preconceived notions when it was put in front of me, and then I couldn't put it down because the story was such a wonderful story about friendship. And I went to the director, Travis Knight, and I said, listen, man, I just want to be in this thing. He said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I don't just go across screen and be like this. I said, whatever you want me to do, because it's a great story, and I just want to fit in wherever you can have me. And that's it's kind of a philosophy that I've used with WWE. I've been in the first match, I've been in the last match, I've been in the middle, I've been to events as a fan. So I love it so much, I just want to fit in it wherever I can and do the best I can. And I use the same philosophy after a series of poor efforts earlier on in my career where I was doing it because it was a good business model. Now I take what led me to success in the WWE, having love and attachment to a story, and try to apply that to movies. So when I read it and I can't put it down, I want to be a part of it. And that doesn't always work because a lot of times I get rejected. Like I'll go through the audition process and it's not for me. But there isn't a better feeling in the world being able to work hard and go through the proper channels and then get an opportunity to be attached to something you love. Because it makes it easy to talk to you guys about stuff like this. It makes it easy to travel the world and be in Tokyo one day, and then Beijing the next, and then Los Angeles, and then New York, answering similar based questions. It's easy for me because I'm talking about something I'm passionate about. And the performance is easier because I understand the story. And I'm not clocking in every day just for a paycheck. I'm actually attached to the material. So Blockers is a comedy, Bumblebee is an action movie, Fred is a children's comedy, Ferdinand was a children's animated movie. All of these choices have one common thread. I really enjoyed reading the material. I guess that's why I'm surrounded by people who enjoy reading. That's how I pick. I enjoy the read, and if I like it, I want to help bring it to life.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Daniel. I come from actually North Bergen, New Jersey, and my question is on behalf of my drama club there. We recently did Ellie the Play. So my question for you is, and from them, when are you going to become the 17-time champ, man?
I don't know. I never use the word deserve. Thank you very much. I like the word earn better. I don't know. I can't confidently say that that's in my future, and I'm not sure when that opportunity would happen. I know there's a lot of more deserving people for that opportunity than I am, and the last thing I would want is to be handed an opportunity just because it looks nice on a resume. So I know I'm going to have to essentially start from the bottom and earn it because I've been away for a while, and that's something I've been known to do. So I'm not saying it's never going to happen, but it's going to take a whole lot of work. And I think I can still do it, but I'm not sure when that's going to happen.
Thank you.
You got it.
Hi, my name is Tommy Seifert from Long Island. I just want to know, did you ever find middle school hard?
Oh, every day. Every day. Middle school was especially tough for a bunch of reasons. I looked different than everybody else. I came from a small town in the North Shore of Massachusetts where everybody listened to rock and roll music and wore blue jeans. And this was at the advent of rap music, which is now referred to as hip hop music. And there were artists in the late 80s that wore these crazy pants that the crotch was like here, and they wore these crazy polka dot shirts, and they had these crazy hairdos, and I was one of the people who enjoyed that type of music, and I loved the rebellious nature of that type of music, and I fell in love with it, and I began to look different than all the other students. So in middle school, every day, I got beat up for being myself. That was especially tough. Because I was going through a little bit of soul searching for myself, I also wasn't a really good student. I was a C- student, if that, and I was really a problem in the classroom. And many times I had to be put in my place by my teachers, and I'm grateful for every time they did it because it taught me an example of that I need to have a little bit of discipline in my life and behave. So I got beat up, I didn't enjoy class, and I wasn't a good student. But I didn't change who I was. And over the course of time, through middle school, people understood that it wasn't necessarily a phase. I was authentically being myself. And by the time I got out of middle school and into high school, my peer group, and even those who weren't in my peer group, appreciated me because I had taken a bunch of butt kickings and always gotten back up and never fought back. What I did instead is I asked my father at a very young age to buy me a weight set, and I started working out as a self-defense measure, and I found a passion of mine that I've kept for the past 30 years is lifting weights and becoming like trying to chase strength. So if it wasn't for getting my butt kicked, and if it wasn't for having to check myself for being a bad student, and if it wasn't for all those hard days, I never would have found physical fitness. I never would have learned that you need to be yourself no matter what is put in front of you and always be proud of who you are. And over the time of just consistently staying true to my message, by the time I got to high school, everything had turned itself around. I became a successful athlete. I became a very successful student. I went from D, C- to an A- range. I was able to have a good support group around me, good mentorship, and ended up doing well and going on to excel in university. So if you're in middle school right now and you're having a tough time, you're not alone. It's tough for everybody because essentially that's your transition from a kid to a young adult. So you're going through all these things and feelings and you don't know which way is up, and every day is difficult. Just please know that you're not alone. Don't be afraid to ask anybody for help, and never give up.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cooper from New York, and my sister's into like drama and writing and painting, and she was wondering how you manage your time and do all the stuff that you do.
Well, like I said, I do stuff that I enjoy, and a lot of it's tedious, and a lot of it is practice-based. I enjoy looking at art, so I don't paint, but I enjoy drama, and I devote some of my time to drama. I enjoy music. I devote some of my time to practicing music, and practice stinks. But it's how you get good, and when you finally get good at something, it feels good to be able to play a little bit. I don't know, I just really like doing the stuff that I do, and to me it never seems like work. Today essentially is a long day. Yesterday was a long day, but I like answering your questions, man, and I like talking about the projects that I got and stuff I got coming up. So it's although the days are long, to me it's easy. I just try to involve myself with stuff that I enjoy.
Thank you.
You got it.
Hi, my name is Gary. I'm from Staten Island. I'm going to start off by saying, not to sound like a broken record, but thank you truly for all the things you've done, the Make-A-Wish Foundation, all your work.
Thank you.
I can pick anyone from my school, and they'll be like, "Hey, I want to be John Cena when I grow up." You just like emit that much.
Did they say they want to beat John Cena?
Beat.
That list is long and distinguished, and is really worth not as
My
much as it
mistake.
used to be.
So just thank you. And my question is, so a couple years back, your theme song kind of became that kind of spread like wildfire all over the internet.
The internet.
Yeah. I remember in music class, our one goal was to learn your theme song, and it became a meme.
Yeah.
So what was your response to that kind of like meme culture, and how you kind of incorporate that?
That's a great question, because essentially I've learned this, when you become a meme, people are making fun of you. The joke is about you. So in like 2011, 2012, there was a really well done skit about a prank call that continuously played my name in my theme song. And it was not my performance, although I'd want to take credit for it. I can't. It was the very well done skit that caught on with the internet community, and they began to make jokes or memes about my theme song and my presence. I got one of two ways to handle this. One, I can be upset. And if I be upset, I can fire back, and I can choose that the energy's coming my way as bad and throw some bad energy back at it. And I've seen stuff like that happen before. Nothing good comes out of it. I specifically told the WWE not to address it because I didn't want anyone to stop doing it. I wanted more jokes to happen because, once again, I'm okay laughing at myself, and I'm okay with who I am inside. And I realized that all those jokes, and by the way, I tend to make funny faces when I wrestle too, so I gave the meme posse tons of ammunition. So, all things considered, there was a lot of joking material about me out there, and there still is to this day. The latest meme is me at Walmart, giving a thumbs up. That just happened like 2 weeks ago. I actually appreciate it. I really do appreciate it because it introduced who I am and how I perform to a generation that might not have known me. And it's given me the chance to do what I love for another 10 years. And all I had to do was be comfortable enough with myself to allow people to make fun of me and be okay with it. So I'm super, super, super grateful for the internet culture for making me a meme.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth from Staten Island, and before I begin, I just want to say thank you again, and my brothers really, they're huge fans of you, and they loved seeing you in the Kids' Choice Awards. And my question is, considering your acting and rapping experience, would you ever consider being on Broadway, and if so, what show would you want to be in?
Man, what did you say, Hamlet? No. Oh, classical Shakespeare, man? That would be a lot of work for me to be able to try to do that. It hasn't really crossed my mind yet, although there is no bigger thrill than entertaining a live audience. And like I said, I know my days of doing that physically are coming to an end. So I'm not going to say no, but at the current time, I got so many things going on that I enjoy, and I have just enough time to focus on those. It's probably not in my near future. But then again, I said that about all this stuff that's happening now, and here we are. So we'll see. I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. If you're just joining us, this is the question and answer period of the program. Get in line and ask a question, or take a seat and get some information. Either way, thank you very much for being here. And you guys that have hung in for the whole hour, thank you very much. Let's keep it going with the questions.
Hey, John. Rich from New Jersey. Over the years, I've tried to instill in my kids that failure is okay, that the most successful people in life have just failed more often than everybody else, and they pick themselves up. And I'm assuming that your path to success was no different. My question is, before you became famous, perhaps before you have the confidence that you have now, what did you do when you came across failure, rejection, embarrassment to get yourself up to keep yourself moving forward? My daughter's in the audience, so I'd love for her to hear this.
I think the example from junior high is a great one. You want to talk about embarrassment and failure. I was literally assaulted every day for being who I was, and nothing more. Not because I was a troublemaking kid to my peer group. I was more trouble to the teacher. I bet you the teachers wish they could do what the students were doing to me. But I just got assaulted every day for the way I looked and how I acted. And I just never wavered from that. I knew what I was doing was right because I knew it was who I was inside. So at a very early age, I knew that it was okay to be myself, but I also knew that it wasn't easy. It was okay, but it wasn't easy. And it was going to take work for me to let the people around me know that, like, hey, this was really me. So I was fortunate enough to fail a ton in my early life. And I guess it just taught me the lessons that don't ever waver from your values and beliefs. It's okay to be who you are. If people don't get you, that's also okay. And that life isn't easy. Life in itself, no matter what, even if it's attaching yourself to a social circle, is hard work. So I was fortunate enough to learn all those things at a young age. And since then, I've failed many more times than I have succeeded. But I also learn from every experience. I never blame anyone else for my failures. I own every single one of them, and that is in the workplace and in my personal life. And I try to strip those failures down to, like, okay, what caused this? What about me caused this? If I want to fix my behavior in the future, what do I have to correct? And those are things that, as of late, that have really, really helped me as an adult and took me about 38 years to learn. But still, I don't think we ever stop learning and ever stop growing. So as with your young daughter in the audience, just be okay being you and just know that life's not easy and it's going to take work. And to the older folks, you're never too smart for your own good. You can always learn. You can always grow.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Sakrup. I'm from Pennsylvania, and so I write. So I was really curious when I heard that John Cena, the wrestling guy, wrote a book. So what was it like when you wrote that children's book? What was it like?
Now, when you say curious, where you're like, John Cena, the wrestling guy, wrote a book, you're like, pfft,
Yeah.
I'm a writer. John Cena, the wrestling guy, wrote a book? Either way, it's totally cool. It's totally cool. It's awesome to be able to write, man. And a lot of the writing I do, I've been writing for a really long time. I wrote as a poet when I made music for a rap album. I write all of the material that I present to an audience in WWE. That all comes from me. I write it all. I love writing because it's a chance to create a narrative and a chance to create a universe and a chance to create a story. And I can only assume that that's probably why you enjoy writing as well. You get to use your imagination and put the information out there to the reader, and the reader can't just read the text. The reader also has to participate, and they have to use their imagination, and they have to kind of help your words take on their own identity. So it's that magical ability for all of us to use something I think you should never lose, and that's your imagination, and that's why I love to do it so much.
All right, thank you.
You got it.
Hi, John. I'm Mark from the Bronx. I was wondering, since now you're 42, if your workout regimen has changed, and if so, are you still lifting heavy? Are you doing more cardio? Is it difficult to train more now that you're on the road doing all this traveling?
Welcome, everyone, to the physical fitness portion of the program. The answer to that question is it's changed entirely. I was lucky enough to take an opportunity to go to China and film a movie last year, and I lived in China for 6 months. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I loved the opportunity and I loved the story, but when I landed, I was put into a month and a half of training for action sequences that would come up in this movie. And I didn't sign up for that. Like, I'm good. I kind of know how to fall down, guys. Like, don't worry about it. But it was a different environment, and it was one where I needed to be flexible. And to do that, I needed to stretch. And I got my butt kicked every day, twice a day, by people who could do these things with their bodies that I've never even seen in my life. And immediately I lost 15 pounds, and I lost 40% of my strength, but I began to feel better. I used to always kind of walk like this, and it always used to be tough to get up. So once again, here I am at 41 years old, thinking that I'm this big, strong human being, and I will earn these people's respect by showing them how much weight that I can lift, when not a single one of them care. They just want me to kick above my own head, which took a lot of work. I still can't do it, but I can kick higher and higher and higher. They were very supportive in their teaching, but they were also very tough. And from that experience, I've totally changed the way that I work out. I work out so much less with resistance. I break a sweat for about 20 minutes, and then I stretch for about an hour, and then I work out for about 25 or 30 minutes. And literally, I'm in the best shape of my life. I feel the best, and it was going through one of the worst experiences of my entire life that brought me to this point. So yes, I've changed it absolutely, totally, completely. And the way you can navigate your fitness waters by traveling a lot is just simply manage your time. Fitness is all around us, it's everywhere. So there's not a place that doesn't have a place that you can work out in. I used to work out in my hotel room in China when we were in Inner Mongolia. I used to box in my hotel room and stretch in my hotel room. So you can always make something happen, man. You just got to improvise.
We have time for one more question.
Oh, we got 2 minutes and 21 seconds, so we may have a couple.
Let's go lightning.
Hi, my name is Nargis, and I'm from Pennsylvania. I have another BTS question.
Okay.
So I recently learned that you're like an army, right? So I was like, I have to ask you a question. Oh, what's your favorite BTS ship?
So this is where my army ship begins to sink, because as an army member, what I think my role is to applaud BTS for their message. And their message is an awesome one. If you guys don't know, it's one of self-love and appreciation, because if you can't love yourself, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, the people around you are in a miserable mood. So I love them for doing that. I also love and respect the group for the connection that they've made with more than just their culture. They're truly a global phenomenon. It's like literally not since the Beatles has there been such a group connected to the world. And I like and listen to their music. But when I was asked about my favorite artists earlier, I said Etta James, Otis Redding, and B.B. King. So I listen and enjoy BTS's music. But as far as like the inner fandom goes, I'm on the way, way, way outside of the army. And I'm man enough to admit that. I'm just happy to kind of be along for the ride. So as far as like the deep inside BTS baseball questions, I'm not smart enough to go there with you, but I appreciate you asking. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, 1 minute left.
Really quickly, my name's Christina. It's really nice to meet you. I just wanted to know what your favorite pair of shoes was and what your favorite memory from walking in those shoes was.
Reebok pumps, the Omni-Lite Reebok pumps. Because without them, my connection with you would have never started. And that kind of was the start of me connecting with an audience for the first time, and the rest has been one hell of a roller coaster.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Come on, keep going. We got it.
Make it quick.
They're gonna have to bring the hook off to get me out of here. Go for it.
Hi, John. I'm also John from New Jersey.
Also John, hello.
Just being curious, what's your favorite wrestling match that you like to look back on and watch over again?
Hulk Andre, WrestleMania 3. Because to me it meant everything as a kid, where I thought it was an unwinnable task for Hulk Hogan, and the fact that he could defeat such a monumental, impressive opponent as a young child that had a very lasting impression on me.
Awesome,
Excellent. With that, let's give it up for John Cena. Thank you so much for joining us.
That's it. Do we have any final words? TJ, can I get 1 second? 1 second? None of this happens without you guys. And you guys sat here and listened to me talk for an hour. I can't stress enough how grateful I am to have these moments. I have great perspective of everything that is happening to me and that has happened to me, and I know this is a very unique circumstance. It does not happen without you and without your support. So if you're here because you know who I am, I'm truly indebted to you. If you're here because you didn't know what you're getting yourself into, welcome to the weird space, because this is where awesome things happen. And I hope you guys have learned a little bit about me and my approach and my passion for books, and maybe a few things that you didn't know. I hope you can take something away from this, because you've given me your most valuable asset, time. I'm truly grateful for it. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and have a rest of the convention.